Welcome to this deep dive, presented by Safety One Source. Today we're really zeroing in on something, well, pretty fundamental for workplace safety, but maybe easily overlooked. It's the OSHA regulations for step bolts and manhole steps, specifically 1910.24.
That's right.
And if you're listening, maybe you're a safety professional, a risk manager, or just really focused on workplace safety, you know that sometimes the smallest details, they can have the biggest impact.
Oh, absolutely. It's easy to focus on, the big machinery or obvious hazards, but these access points, step bolts, manhole steps, slips and falls related to them are serious.
Yeah, overlooking specs here can lead to safety issues, definitely. And let's be honest, potential legal headaches too. So our goal today is pretty straightforward. We want to unpack the core requirements from this standard, 1910.24, give you some clear, actionable insights you can, well, hopefully use.
Exactly. And the standard really shows OSHA's focus on proactive safety, right? Building it into the design, the maintenance, not just reacting after something goes wrong.
Good point. Okay, so let's get into it. Step bolts first.
Let's do it.
Right. We should probably split this, maybe talk about the ones installed on or after January 17, 2017 first. Sound good?
Yeah, that makes sense. The requirements are different.
Okay, so for these newer ones, first thing, corrosion protection. If they're in a place where corrosion might happen, and that's a lot of places, right?
Oh, definitely. Think manufacturing, outdoors, wastewater.
Exactly. The material itself, or maybe a coating, it has to protect against that corrosion. Seems obvious, but it's crucial for long-term strength.
It really is. Corrosion just eats away at the integrity over time. A bolt could look okay, but be seriously weakened. And it's not just the material. The standard also talks about the actual design. It has to be designed or constructed to stop your foot from slipping off the end, like a small lip or a specific shape.
Right. Those little design features make a huge difference in real-world use. Okay, then there's spacing. Very specific here. Uniform spacing, vertically, not less than 12 inches, not more than 18 inches apart.
Center, yeah.
Measured center to center, right? And they note an exception. The spacing from the ground or platform to the first bolt can be different. There's actually a diagram, figure D6, that shows this.
And that uniform spacing is just vital for climbing safely. It creates a rhythm, Inconsistent steps are a classic trip hazard.
Yeah, it definitely throws you off balance. What about the width? Minimum clear width for the step bolt itself is 4.5 inches.
Enough for a decent foothold.
And behind the bolt, clearance. Minimum 7 inches perpendicular distance to the nearest permanent thing.
Like a wall or a pipe.
Exactly. Though there's a little leeway. If you absolutely can't avoid an obstruction, it can be reduced, but still needs at least 4.5 inches of clearance.
That clearance is key so you don't bang your toe or heel, which could easily cause a slip. The reduction acknowledges, real-world constraints sometimes.
Makes sense. Now this is interesting, the load requirement. For these newer step bolts installed after that 2017 date, they have to support at least 4 times their maximum intended load.
Wow, yeah. That's a significant safety factor. 4 times. It accounts for the person's weight, tools maybe, and the dynamic forces when you're actually climbing.
Right, and of course, inspection. Like so much safety equipment.
Yeah.
Inspect them at the start of each work shift and maintain them properly, following the general rules in 1910.22 for working surfaces.
That regular inspection and maintenance loop is critical. It ensures that the design features, the strength, it all stays effective. A loose bolt, a corroded spot, it needs to be caught early.
And speaking of catching things early, bent step bolts. The rule is very clear here. If a step bolt is bent more than 15 degrees from perpendicular in any direction, it has to be removed and replaced before anyone uses it.
Yep. No ambiguity there. 15 degrees is the limit. A bent bolt isn't just weaker, it's an awkward, unsafe place to put your foot.
Definitely increases the risk. Okay, so that covers the newer ones in some detail. What about the step bolts installed before January 17, 2017?
Well, the main requirement for those is simpler. They essentially just need to be capable of supporting their maximum intended load.
So no specific 4 times requirement or mandatory anti-slip design mentioned for those older ones?
Not explicitly in this section, no. The focus is on ensuring they can still hold the load safely. It's kind of grandfathered in, but the basic load-bearing capacity has to be there.
Right. It's practical, acknowledges existing stuff, but still keeps a baseline safety requirement.
Exactly.
Okay, good. Let's shift gears then. Manhole steps.
Right. Similar concept, but some different details.
The baseline is the same, isn't it? Each step has to support its maximum intended load.
Yes, that's fundamental. But manholes often mean confined spaces, maybe more moisture, different kinds of grime.
Good point. So the specifics for newer ones, again, installed on or after January 2017, reflect that. Like needing a slip-resistant surface, that's a must.
Yeah, things like corrugated, knurled, dimpled, something to give you grip.
Makes total sense. Manholes can get slick, water, mud, other stuff.
Absolutely. That surface treatment is a direct countermeasure to a really common hazard in manholes.
And just like the newer step bolts, if corrosion is a potential issue,
Which it often is in manholes.
right, then the construction or coating has to be corrosion resistant. Again, it's about that long-term reliability, especially underground.
Mm-hmm. Longevity and safety, hand in hand.
Okay, width. For manhole steps, it's wider. Minimum clear step width is 10 inches.
Yeah, significantly wider than the step bolts. Gives you a much more solid platform for your foot.
And vertical spacing, also different. Not more than 16 inches apart, center to center.
So potentially a bit closer together than the max for step bolts.
Right. And again, that first step spacing from the entry or exit can be different.
That wider step and potentially closer spacing probably reflects, needing secure footing quickly in a confined area. Consistency is still key, though.
Okay, clearance behind the step. Minimum 4.5 inches perpendicular distance to the nearest permanent object.
So that's the minimum here, whereas for step bolts it was 7 inches, reducible to 4.5.
Exactly. It seems to acknowledge that things are often tighter inside a manhole.
Yeah, space is usually limited, so the standard adapts while still trying to ensure enough room for your foot.
And finally, just like the newer step bolts again, the design and construction have to prevent your foot slipping or sliding off the end.
That core principle again, keep the foot secure.
And, critically, inspection and maintenance, same deal. Inspect each manhole step at the start of each work shift, maintained per 1910.22.
Yep, that ongoing vigilance. Installation is just the start. Keeping them safe is a continuous process.
So we kind of pull back and connect the dots.
Yeah,
We see clear differences, right?
definitely.
Manhole steps generally wider, maybe closer vertical spacing compared to step bolts.
And both have that split based on the January 2017 date.
Right, with the newer installations having those tougher requirements. The 4X load for step bolts, slip resistance for manhole steps, corrosion protection.
And what really stands out, I think, is how proactive it all is. It's about designing safety in, maintaining it, inspecting it constantly. It's prevention focused.
Totally agree. These might feel like tiny details, step width, spacing, coatings, but sticking to them. That's how you build a safer workplace, fundamentally. It helps you, the safety pros and risk managers listening, avoid violations, sure, but more importantly,
It helps prevent injuries. That's the real bottom line. A fall from a faulty step bolt or manhole step can be devastating.
for sure. And it contributes to that overall safety culture where even the quote-unquote small stuff gets the attention it needs.
That's it. These regulations give a clear framework. It's about using that framework effectively.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up this deep dive presented by Safety One Source on OSHA 1910.24, we really hope this breakdown has given you, especially as safety professionals and risk managers tuning in, some valuable practical information for your own sites. Definitely take these points, review them against your own workplace, your own protocols. Are you meeting these standards?
Yeah, and maybe use this as a jumping off point. Think about your own operations. Beyond just these steps, what other maybe small but vital safety details could be getting overlooked? And what are the real-world practical challenges you face in keeping up with standards like these day to day? Reflecting on that is often where the next level of safety improvement comes from.